If you're not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you're not going to pay your bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary General has said that. Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them.
Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sister Akim, pushing his word across the four corners of the world. Just another news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And just a quick news update right here from NBCnews.com, and it states, Trump considering major NATO policy shift. And NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is an international military alliance that was established on April the 4th, 1949. And it began with 12 countries that signed to the North Atlantic Treaty. So fast forward to nowadays, this international military alliance now consists of 32 member states from Europe and North America. And remember, NATO's design purpose was to protect the freedom and security of its members through political and any military means. So now you have right here, Trump considering major NATO policy shift. And it says right here, the president has discussed possibly favoring members of the alliance that spend a set percentage of their GDP on defense, sources told NBC News. And this article was published on March the 6th, 2025. And it says, President Donald Trump is considering a major change to the U.S. participation in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, according to 3 current and former senior U.S. officials and 1 congressional official. Trump has discussed with aides the possibility of calibrating America's NATO engagement in a way that favors members of the alliance that spend a set percentage of their gross domestic product on defense, the official said. As part of the potential policy shift, the U.S. might not defend a fellow NATO member that is attacked if the country doesn't meet the defense spending threshold, the official said. If Trump does make that change, it will mark a significant shift from a core tenet of the alliance known as Article 5, which says that an attack on any NATO country is an attack on all of them. A treaty is defined as a formally concluded and ratified agreement between countries. So in other words, it's a settlement, it's an agreement, it's a pact, a deal, a covenant. And what is the nature of Esau-Edom, which Donald J. Trump happens to be? And let's get right quick, the book of Psalm, the 55th chapter and the 20th verse. He, referencing to the tabernacle of Esau-Edom, had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. And that's because Esau's nature is not to be a man of his word. He's very crafty and devious within his artful schemes. Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And you best believe that these foreign nations knows about the true history, how America got so-called established. They violently took it away from the so-called indigenous people, the so-called Native Americans, the so-called Seminole Indians, and the so-called Mexicans, who happens to be a part of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And it's all types of historical facts that pinpoints these different treaties that the so-called Native Americans and these so-called white people who are the biblical Edomites had pacts or deal, a treaty, or a covenant. And according to the Google AI overview, the U.S. has broken more than 370 treaties with the Native American nations. So therefore, it's safe to say that Esau is not a man of his word. And that notion alone is stirring up a lot of hostility and tension between America and these foreign nations, which a lot of them are America's allies. So right here it says, the president is similarly considering a policy change in which the U.S. may choose to prioritize military exercises with NATO members that are spending a set percentage of their GDPs on defense, the official said. His administration has already signaled to America's European allies that the U.S. could reduce its military presence in Europe, and one option now under consideration is to reposition some U.S. troops in the region so they are focused in or around NATO countries that have scaled their defense spending to meet the specific percentage of their GDPs, the official said. Asked about Trump considering making these changes to how the U.S. engages with NATO, a National Security Council official said in a written statement, President Donald Trump is committed to NATO and Article 5. Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, the top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee for Defense and a senior senator on the Foreign Relations panel, said Trump's nominee to be U.S. ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, gave very reassuring answers on the administration's commitment to NATO and Article 5. Trump has repeatedly criticized NATO countries for not meeting the current NATO member goal of spending 2% of their GDP on defense. He has argued that the disparity is unfair and puts an added burden on the U.S. NATO countries agreed more than a decade ago to set the spending goal for each of them at 2% of GDP, but Trump has pushed to increase that percentage. Most recently, he said NATO members should spend 5% of their GDP on defense, though the U.S. does not currently do that. NATO has to pay more, Trump said in January after taking office. It's ridiculous because it affects them a lot more. We have an ocean in between. According to NATO's most recent statistics, last year 23 NATO members' defense spending exceeded 2% of their GDP. 5 of those nations, Estonia, Greece, Latvia, Poland, and the U.S., spent more than 3% on defense. Poland has the highest percentage, dedicating 4.12% of its GDP to defense. The potential shift is how the U.S. participates in NATO comes as Trump is pushing European allies to do more to aid Ukraine in its war with Russia and to play a major role in maintaining peace in the country if a deal to end the war is reached. I was contacted by several European ambassadors concerned about rumors that Trump might make some negative announcement about NATO, Coons told NBC News in an interview on Wednesday. Trump did not announce anything at his joint address to Congress on Tuesday night, but Coons said, if you're not given pause by everything about President Trump's statements and actions on foreign policy, you're not paying attention. Trump threatened to withdraw the U.S. from NATO during his first term and has questioned the merits of Article 5 for the U.S. The article was designed to protect European nations from the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It has been triggered just once after 9/11 attacks on the U.S., and this so-called 9/11 attack on the U.S. was all engineered or orchestrated by the so-called powers that be. And it says right here, Ukraine has sought NATO membership, but the Trump administration has said that would not be part of any negotiated peace deal. So Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua is definitely turning things up concerning end-time biblical prophecies. And by America trying to set this Article 5 set percentage that they did years ago to even a higher percentage number, that's creating more strife, hostility, and tension between America and its so-called allies. And again, it all correlates back onto end-time biblical prophecies. As it's stated within Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, how the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And all of this is ultimately boiling up to World War III. And right here, this is 2 Peter 1:19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. And the word sure goes into like being firm, established. As it's stated within Isaiah 34:16, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, referring to the Holy Bible, and how none of these should fail. And that's referring to these prophetic oracles of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. So again, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts, which is the testimony of Yahushua. Because according to Revelation 19:10, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Yahushua. And that's a special divine gift to have, and especially within these end times. That through the gift of the Holy Spirit, we can be able to measure the times diligently in itself. Like we are seeing what's occurring with these current events. And through the Spirit, we measure it with the Holy Bible, which is considered as that measuring rod. And by this sure word of prophecy, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is displaying to us even more through the Spirit why America, aka Babylon the Great, is also codified as the hammer of the earth. Which takes me right to Jeremiah 50:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon, again referencing to America, become a desolation among the nations? So that word hammer goes into devastator. Look how America overwhelms or ultimately ruins or destroys other nations, either through economic means, like for instance, the Cuban blockade, and where America set forth an economic embargo on the Republic of Cuba. And by this economic sanction, and it prevented U.S. businesses from conducting trade or commerce with Cuba interests since 1958. So therefore, Esau, and along with its stronghold, America, can economically strangle another country if it doesn't abide by America's rules, and more so its democracy. And that's one particular reason why America is considered as the hammer of the whole earth. And also how America devastated Japan in 1945, hence Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where America detonated 2 atomic bombs over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And that caused a great, terrible devastation upon Japan. It caused mass casualties and also psychological trauma. And fast forward to 5 to 6 years after those bombings, that great catastrophe caused increased cancer rates within those particular survivors. And after about a decade, those survivors began suffering from thyroid, breast, lung, and other different types of cancers at higher than normal rates due to those high levels of radioaction exposure. And we already know about some, if not most of the history, the devastation that America, again, Babylon the Great, has brought upon our people, the 12 tribes of Israel. So fast forward to nowadays, where you have America being considered as the bully of the whole earth, and where Trump is now repeatedly criticizing NATO countries for not meeting the current NATO member goal of spending 2% of their GDP. Then to add more fuel to the fire, he's considering calibrating that NATO policy, or treaty, or covenant, for these NATO members to now spend 5% of their GDP on defense. And again, that is stirring up a lot of tension and hostility between America and these foreign nations. So again, back in Jeremiah 50:23, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? And again, once you go into the word hammer, it goes into devastator. Like America literally overwhelms, spoils, and ruins other nations. And according to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, it goes into how America has spoiled many nations to the point of desolation. So now that same energy that America has been doing for many centuries, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is about to allow America to meet that same karma. And that's by allowing America, that personified whore, and for her so-called allies to turn against her. And again, that fulfills end-time biblical prophecies. And that takes me right to Revelation 17:15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth, referencing to America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. That's why America is considered as that great melting pot, where you have a conglomerate of all these different nations, cultures, languages, are all mixed in within this American society. And that caused a lot of confusion within itself. And that's why America is known as the city of confusion when you read Isaiah, the 24th chapter and the 10th verse. And it's all strategically set up by Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua for America to be that great melting pot, will be the results of that burnt offering that Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua has that sacrifice within Basra, which is codified as America. And by that stance alone, they will be melted by thermonuclear warfare. Verse 16, and the 10 horns, which is referencing to these European Union nations, which thou sawest upon the beast, referencing to NATO, these should hate the whore, and that's referencing to America, and should make her desolate and naked, and should eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And all of this that's currently going on with this major NATO policy shift is all boiling up to World War III. Verse 17, for Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua had put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua shall be fulfilled. And their hearts are referring to the kings of these foreign nations. And that's because, pursuant to Proverbs 21 verse 1, how the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. And that will goes into Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua's authoritative decision, hence his judgment that they will bring upon America very soon. And that's definitely going to be World War III. And let's get right quick, Obadiah 1 verse 6 within the NLT, and that's the New Living Translation. Every nook and cranny of Edom, referring to you so-called white people who are the biblical Edomites, will be searched and looted. Every treasure will be found and taken. All your allies, hence NATO, which is again the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's an international military alliance that now consists of 32 member states. And their design purpose was to protect the freedom and security of its members through political and military means. So Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua is going to program the kings of these foreign nations to turn against America, and also the state of Israel as well. So all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. So again, it's that same energy that America has been given for many, many centuries. And remember, America is also codified as the hammer of the whole earth. So therefore, you have devastated or overwhelmed many nations. And you proudful Americans really believe that these kings of these foreign nations and their people have really forgotten how you plundered and spoiled and brought upon them terrible devastation. No, they haven't. And with that being said, this is all leading to the end results of America. For Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua to cause a lot of tension, hostility, and strife between America and its allies. And the ultimate decision is for America to be taken off the world stage. And that takes me right to Jeremiah 50 verse 13. Because of the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, it should not be inhabited, and that it is referencing to America. According to Jeremiah 51:25, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua spoke through the prophet Jeremiah and stated how America will be made a burnt mountain. And also pursuant to Isaiah the 34th chapter, it goes into how the land of America shall become a burnt pitch, that the only tenants of America will be these desert-like creatures, from the cormorant, the bitter, the owls, the ravens, and the list goes on. So again, because of the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, it should not be inhabited, but it should be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon should be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. And those plagues goes into those widespread afflictions. And that ultimate affliction is going to be by World War III, and also when Yahushua along with the chariots is going to come back. And it's stated within Isaiah the 63rd chapter how Yahushua is going to be traveling with the greatness of his strength. And they're going to bring a lot of turmoil and pain upon America as well. Also within the book of Luke, the 12th chapter, how Yahushua is going to send fire upon the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? So it's going to be literally hell upon earth when Yahushua returns back within this earthly realm, and to destroy America and along the state of Israel. Verse 14, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. And that's the spirit that's going to be upon the allies of America, these foreign nations. And you should already know with Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and the list goes on. So put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Verse 15, shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Take vengeance upon her, as she had done, do unto her. So therefore, America is about to soon reap every single violent behavior that it has sowed upon all these foreign nations for many centuries. And you cannot forget the true nation of Israel, the biblical Israelites. And that's because all of this that's soon about to go down is all about the controversy of Zion. America is about to get its just due. So take vengeance upon her, as she have done, do unto her. All right, so that concludes the lesson through the Spirit. As you can see, things are definitely turning up. And these current events, hence end-time biblical prophecies, are all within the workings of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua to take America off the world stage very soon. So with that, hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.